Hey, what's up you guys? It's Lexi DIY and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Please ignore my hair. I just got out of the shower, so that's why it looks a hot mess. But anyway, today we are getting into part 2 of the Band-Aid budget kitchen renovation, and it was supposed to be up on Sunday. I'm really sorry. Our AC went out. It was like 88 degrees in the house. I go into that a little bit more in depth in the video, but the next video, part 3, and the final reveal will be up on Sunday, so make sure that you guys are subscribed and that you ring that bell notification so that you never miss when I upload next. Without saying much more, let's just go ahead and hop right into the video. I started in the kitchen today for part 2 with the cabinets. Now, y'all, these cabinets look busted, although their style isn't too terribly outdated. I mean, it kind of is, but they're, you know, they have the shaker style, but they're just really beat up, like they were not taken care of. So we're gonna give them a facelift until we can afford to fully renovate the kitchen. So I went ahead and took off the drawers, the doors, and as you can see, I'm using some painter's tape to kind of label them and the inside of where that drawer or door for the cabinet was. That way I know which ones to put back on where. And then I went ahead and gave everything a quick clean with my Goo Gone kitchen degreaser. Now, even though this didn't help too much, I don't want to sand in any of like the dirt and grime, so that's an important step. And then I went ahead and I just sanded this piece that I can't take off. If you can take off all of the pieces, I would recommend doing that just so that you're gonna get more even finish, but yeah. Anyway, then I started taping off so that I could get ready for my primer, and I don't know if this was really necessary on the like front lip of the countertop, but I did it anyway. And then I started taking off all of the hardware from the doors, and please ignore my weird outfits in this video. Anyway, I kept them in a baggie so that I wouldn't lose them, because obviously you do not want to lose your hardware to go back on the cabinet. And then I cleaned all of the cabinet faces with the Goo Gone kitchen degreaser, and I went ahead and sanded it down. That way we have a good surface for our primer to stick to. I'm using a trim brush to get in on all of the angles just to make sure I'm not leaving any blank spaces, and then I'm using a foam roller to go ahead and evenly distribute it. I did go back over like the top lip of the cabinet with this just to give it a more even finish without the brush strokes. And I tested this on one cabinet face first, so you'll see me doing this a lot more times. But anyway, I opened my black paint. I used the Bare cabinet and trim enamel in I think a semi-gloss, or maybe it was a high gloss. Honestly, I cannot remember. It's probably a high gloss. And then I started by cutting in with my paintbrush. Now, guys, normally I would do all of this with my paint sprayer, but it was like 100 degrees outside, and this was before our AC went out, but it wasn't working really good. And you have to open all of the windows and like make sure that everybody in the house can breathe when you do the paint sprayer, because the particles get everywhere. Like, you have to wear a respirator. So I knew it just was not an option for me to do that, and I couldn't open the windows because it was so hot outside. So I had to just do everything by hand, but it turned out fine. So if you don't want to invest in a paint sprayer, no worries on that. You can still paint your kitchen cabinets. I do suggest using a foam roller to make everything as even as possible, but you're going to need both a brush and a foam roller to get into all the little cracks. Then me and Dustin are repeating the process a million times for the rest of the lower cabinets. We took all of the hardware off and gave them each a good cleaning, and then went ahead and sanded them down. While we're doing that, and you guys are just watching us basically do the same thing, I wanted to say I'm really sorry I didn't get a video up on Sunday. Our AC went out on literally the hottest day that we've had so far, and it gave the hot mess house, you know, the real title of the hot mess house, because it was freaking hot in here. It was like 88 degrees at one point, and all of me, Dustin, and our 3 dogs, we basically just got into our master bedroom with a portable unit, and we stayed in there until they could fix it, and it was a whole battle with the home warranty company, but they finally came out, and the guy that came out was really, really nice. So thank goodness that that's over. I was also going to post on Tuesday, and I made a post about it, but frankly guys, I've just been a little overwhelmed. Not that it's a bad thing, because there has been so many opportunities that have been being presented to me because of YouTube and TikTok, and I'm just so grateful for you guys. So I'm just not used to it. Like, a year ago I would have never said that I could potentially hit, 100,000 subscribers on YouTube, and guys, we're approaching that, so I just appreciate you guys. My followers on TikTok have now coined anybody who watches the Hot Mess videos as the Hot Mess Homies, so thank you for being here. So here's what the doors looked like after one coat of black paint, and they were looking pretty good, but they definitely needed another, so I went ahead and did that off camera. And then I'm doing the drawers. I'm just making sure that nothing's touching the ground so that it doesn't like stick to the ground, and I kind of just prop them up on whatever I had. Again, I'm using the foam roller and the brush, so the brush to get around the edges, make sure all of the paint is evenly spread on the edges, and then I went over it with a foam roller, and I spray painted all these with a high gloss enamel so that they would blend in with the black. I didn't do this for the top white cabinets, and I really wish I did, so I'm definitely, I might have to go back and redo that. Anyway, after they were dry, I went ahead and put the hardware back on. I only spray painted the front of the hardware, and I only painted the front of the doors because I'm lazy, but you should definitely paint both sides, but I just know I'm not keeping these, so I didn't want to waste the time. I didn't want to waste the paint. Then I went ahead after everything was dry for the bottom cabinets, and I reattached them. These were fairly easy to reattach by myself, but it would be easier if I had somebody hold the doors for me while I did that. Then I probably should have worked top to bottom. So pro tip, don't be like me, work top to bottom so that you don't worry about getting white paint on the cabinets that you just painted black on the bottom. I took off the cabinet doors for the top cabinets because they are going to be painted white instead of black. And I just left everything in my cabinets because, again, I'm lazy and I didn't want to take it out, but it's fine because, honestly, that would have been a lot of work for nothing. So you can definitely paint everything as long as you're not using a paint sprayer while you still have your stuff in your cabinets. Again, I'm just taking down all of the doors and taking off the hardware. I did have to sit on top of my fridge to be able to get one of the doors off, but it's fine because, that's how I roll. Anyway, I don't know why I put this here and not later in the video, but I'll just show it to you now. So I started cleaning off my dishwasher, and then I wanted to make it look like it was black stainless steel. So I used my favorite Cricut vinyl that looks like brushed metal. It's called like True Brush. And I went ahead and applied it onto my dishwasher. Now, in hindsight, I would have done the sides first, and I actually still haven't done the sides. And somebody told me to use water to make it super flat because you can see the bubbles. I went back and actually kind of like popped the bubbles with my X-Acto knife. Because it's True Brush, I just went with like the grain of the design, and that helped a lot. But if you guys have any more suggestions on that, please let me know. And then I went ahead and did the bottom part. I still need to do the sides, and I'm thinking about painting the top in like appliance paint. So if you guys have any suggestions on that, definitely let me know. I'm very curious to hear what you guys have to think about that. But back on to the cabinets. I went ahead and gave everything a quick wipe down, and then I started to just go ahead and apply the primer to them. Same thing with a brush and a foam roller. Now, I didn't use the correct primer, that is for sure. You want to get like a shellac-based primer, like an enamel-based primer for the cabinet so that you don't get any chipping. I am getting a little bit of chipping, so I'm going to do an extra top coat on mine here soon, and it is definitely because I use just a normal primer and not, a cabinet primer. So that's definitely my bad. Don't be like me. Then I went ahead and again cleaned all of them off and sanded all of them down. These top ones were in much better condition than the bottom cabinets, probably because they just hadn't seen as much use. But I'm just using a sanding block. You could definitely use a real sander if you want, but I just didn't think that was super necessary. Then I'm going over it again with definitely the wrong primer. While I was waiting for the cabinet doors to dry, the primer, I had done a coat of the paint on top of the primer because it had already dried on like the shell of the cabinets. I don't know, that's probably not the right word, but you get it. Again, using a brush to get into the little corners and then a foam roller. I did end up doing 2 coats of this on the base of the cabinets. And then once the drawers and the doors were dry, I went over the cabinets with 2 coats of that enamel white paint, and I actually already had this from doing some trim, so I didn't have to pay for it, which was great. Again, I'm using that brush to get in all of the corners and the edges, and then the foam roller to even everything out. Now, I would highly recommend doing this with a paint sprayer if you had it. Again, it was really hot and my AC was not it. I didn't want to you know, it to be 80 degrees in the house, which it ended up being 80 degrees later this week in the house anyway. That's just a story time for another time. But yeah, so I did 2 coats on each of those and waited for them to dry. Once they were dry, I took all of the hardware and I put it back on. Like I said, for this hardware, I just left it gold. I really wish I wouldn't have. I wish I would have just spray painted it with another like enamel, but I didn't have any of the white enamel, or I just couldn't find it anyway. So I just left them gold, and it would have updated it a lot better if I spray painted them. But anyway, I'm just reattaching those. It really helped that I kept them in that little baggie so I didn't lose them. Again, these are also labeled, as you can see, and I have an arrow pointing to where the top of the cabinet is, so I know which side the hinges go on, if that makes sense. So definitely do that. The right prep is gonna make this a lot easier. Then, I had to reattach the upper cabinets. This was difficult without Dustin home. He was at work, so unfortunately I was doing this by myself. I was like using a bucket to hold it up, and yeah, it can be done, but if you want to get it done faster and not scratch up your cabinets by like missing the screw holes and stuff, definitely have somebody help you with this. But yeah, anyway, I just reattached those, and look at how much better the kitchen is already looking. P.S. I got my hair highlighted. I'm so obsessed with it. It took like 8 hours, so let me know how you guys are feeling about my new hair. I am kind of obsessed. Now, initially, I wasn't going to paint this wall or these cabinets on the top here because we're taking this wall down soon, so it will be open to the living room. But once I started, I was like, I can't just halfway do the kitchen. That's not right. So I had to go back and do a coat of primer and paint on this little soffit up here and on the wall behind it because, yeah, we're giving it a full Band-Aid renovation instead of just halfway like I kind of thought we were gonna do, because I just can't do things halfway. And then I ended up blocking some of my shot with my ring light because I was filming for TikTok too, so that's definitely my bad. I took off the plastic covering that I had, and I just kind of vacuumed up anything that was left. I took off all of the painter's tape. I did have to kind of cut the edges because if I didn't, on at least where the wall meets, it was like coming up because it is like an enamel, so you can, like, I think it's because I used the wrong primer, but I could peel it off if I wanted to. Anyway, then I measured out the little edge pieces for my countertop. Like I said last time, I waited to do this until all the cabinets were done so I didn't get any paint on them. But I'm using some extra caulking to hold it in place. yes, they are sticky on the back, but since it's in this vertical position, I wanted to make sure it had a little bit extra support. And this was super easy. Once I cut one of them, I just used that one as a template to cut the rest of them. And I put them on all the way down. I really like the way it looks, and it's going to give me that same effect of like an actual countertop that I'm hoping to install once we're ready to do the big renovation. Then I took off the shoe molding on the floor because next time we are going to get changing the floor, and that was really something, you guys. It was really something, so make sure that you guys stay tuned on Sunday because that's when the big reveal is gonna happen. But until then, here is a preview. Here is the before, and here is the after. Thank you so much if you made it all the way to the end of this video. If you're not already, make sure that you are following me on all my other socials. They'll be linked here on the screen. I do a lot of as I'm going updates on TikTok, and I do some behind the scenes on my Instagram stories, so make sure that you guys are following me in all of those places if you have them. I also have a P.O. box, so if you guys want to be pen pals, make sure to send me a letter. You can find my P.O. box in the description below, as well as my Amazon shop, which is where I link things that I use to renovate the house. If you're just curious, no pressure, I do make a small commission if you buy something from there, but if you're just interested in seeing what I'm using and my favorite products and then going out and purchasing them on your own, that's fine too. I just wanted to let you guys know that it's there. Also, sorry, you can definitely hear my dogs in the back, but anyway, the final reveal will be up on Sunday, so make sure you stay tuned, and thank you so much for watching. Bye!